Have you thought about having a dedicated reading device? Maybe you've heard someone else talking about it, or you've thought about it yourself. Well, it's something I recently tried out, and I'd like to share with you what I think is really good about it, maybe some potential downsides. So let's get into it. So I went ahead and recently got a dedicated digital reading device. This is something I've put off for a long time. I think mentally I thought, I don't want to have another digital device as a distraction, as, a problem. And just thought also, the cost, I don't need another device with apps on it. I've got, several things I can use to do this. But I found a couple of uses for it and it made sense at the time. And once I actually looked into it, I realized that some of these tablets have become incredibly cheap, which, if you want something bigger, you want something more powerful, that's fine. Just for me, I was like, if I'm just going to use it for reading, it doesn't need to be powerful. I don't need a ton of features on it. It's not like I'm going to be doing a lot with it. I need it literally for reading, maybe looking at some research material. I'd like to look at PDFs. I'd like to follow some links, look at websites, look at some background material. So I went ahead and grabbed one. So I'll put the link up. This is a low-cost Android-based tablet. I believe it's about 8.5 inches diagonal. Very simple to use and has a decent amount of apps. It's got a phone, comes with a Google Play Store, all of that. It's not the fastest thing I've ever used, but for using the apps that I use a lot, like Readwise, Reader, browsing websites, things like that, it is perfectly fine. And for me, it's important that it not be distracting. That's the main thing. With the phone, it's fine, but I do like a little bit of a larger format. And there's things I have on my phone that I need to have on my phone that I did not want to have on this. So for example, I'm not going to put a ton of messaging apps on this. I have one so I can quickly share things with other people or with myself, but I'm not putting every app on there that I could possibly use to share. Also, notifications turned off. This thing is set in silent mode. It's a do not disturb 24/7. And you really just limit what you put on there. I find that that's going to be the easiest way if you kind of decide to take this route, is keep that in mind, that if you are getting this as a dedicated reading device, this isn't meant to be dinging and having pop-ups and all this other stuff going on. So take the time, 5 or 10 minutes, set it up the way you want it, and limit the number of apps, the number of distractions. And this will probably also help by increasing battery life as kind of a side effect of this. The other big thing that I want to talk about is making use of grayscale mode. I've created videos about this before. I'll link out to those above, but I can show you in the background what's going on and how you can make this much less of an issue and much less distracting, especially when you need to go out of your kind of dedicated reading apps, whether again that's Reader or Kindle app or something else. Having that grayscale mode on it really keeps you from, the shiny object mental candy of seeing everything. I mean, a lot of things are designed to grab our attention for a reason. So using the grayscale mode, but also having a way to quickly turn it on and off, because there's times either you want it, you're using it for, not just dedicated reading. You need to see color in a chart, something like that. That's fine, but having that quick way to turn it on and off can be really, really helpful. I've also found that one of the benefits for this is having the mental clarity of knowing, like when I pick this up, oh, right, this is my reading device. I'm not just thinking, it's not my phone where I do everything on it, where, it's for keeping in touch with family, it's for answering phone calls, it's for this, it's for that. Like, no, this is for reading. This is a device for getting that part of my life done. And it's not for sitting around playing games. It's not for doing all this other stuff. And I find that to just also be a nice subconscious kind of, habit of reminding myself. I don't really think about it. I just know, oh, right, that's for reading. So if I'm not going to be doing that, I don't need to be messing around with that. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I was surprised. Relatively low cost. Of course, this is, depends on, what you consider to be low cost. I believe I got that on sale for something like $65 here in the US. I was pleasantly surprised. I figured that these cost at least, 100 to 200 plus, and I'm sure you can easily spend that. But again, for what I needed, it was really simple. Really, somebody else had mentioned it as for use as a teleprompter type of thing, and then I thought of it as a reading device because given the screen size was really nice. So again, you can find the link down below if you want to check that out. I'm sure there's others like it, but been really happy with that, and helping me do more research and reading where I want to be connected. I don't want to be disconnected like reading a book. Maybe I'm reading some online articles and I need to go follow some links and do some things like that. So I think, it makes sense to try it out sometime if you think it makes sense for you. I put it off, like I said, for a long time because I was a little concerned about, do I want to be doing my reading where I'm connected? And really, it hasn't impacted it. When I want to, be reading a book or focusing on a book, that's great. I've got my Kindle, I've got my physical books. It's really not a problem. And so I think I would just summarize it by saying I put it off for a long time, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised, and it's helped me do more reading on the areas where maybe digitally I wasn't doing them as much. And it's also going to be kind of a multitask or multi-purpose tool for me where I can use it, like I mentioned, as like a teleprompter, these other things. So I find that it's kind of handy there. So overall, very happy with it so far. And it hasn't taken over, my other reading or distracted me or anything like that. So I think so long as you follow these kind of rules or set it up, take the time, to really think about how you want to use it. Only put the apps on you need, limit the distractions, consider use of the grayscale mode. That can be a great go-to. So if you've tried this, let me know. I'm curious if you have a dedicated digital reading device, or if you have questions about it that I didn't answer in the video, by all means, leave a comment. Let me know. Hopefully this was helpful.